crypto asset? Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. I'm your host, DZ, and every day on this channel, we teach you how to make money with crypto and digital assets. And today, we obviously have to talk about mom and dad fighting. That's right, Elon and Donald Trump nuking the markets yesterday. Was that a bottom, or are we going to go even further down? It depends on who you ask, and we're going to be looking at the charts to determine that answer. We got a very, very special Friday show. Not only are we doing member stream in the Discord after this, we're not joined by TJ and Josh. We're joined by Josh and Drew. The Drew is here.
Feeling good, man. I got my Bitcoin IRA shirt on too. This looks fantastic. Shout out to him here. Make sure to use Bitcoin IRA.
Yeah, not to be confused with Bitcoin IPA. That was the other half of Blockchain Basement, right?
Oh, yeah. And you know what? At the Biscuit Belly, this shirt started a conversation. I think it's got the Bitcoin symbol right here. Yeah. This Bitcoin symbol. I was able to kind of explain what Bitcoin was to the Biscuit Belly lady. So shout out to her. She's going to start looking at Bitcoin now.
Hey,
TJ got fired. Absolutely not. He's doing some
TJ is he got the boot, guys.
Yeah.
He is completely gone. No longer a part of the show here.
No, he's signing some paperwork for selling his house. So of course, you know, we'll monitor that journey and say, what altcoin are you buying to chase Bitcoin?
Absolutely.
He did move full-time Aave shill mode.
Yeah.
Are we doing well? I mean, dude, I'm ready for the borrowing, lending, DeFi. There's a lot of value in the Discord, guys, that we're gonna be dropping on there. So much value. It's breaking the internet here. I mean, we get to start off the show with an absolute beautiful tweet from none other than Peter Schiff. I'm not saying it was a crime.
You checking on my fart coin long that we're up?
Oh, yeah.
You're looking at the. That's way safer than the tweet I'm about to cover.
It is.
Yeah, let me add your before presenting. I gotta remove and then go and add this. I want to check out.
There you go, guys. The famous Peter Schiff. We just tweeted this.
You're actually going with
as
it.
This explains so much. I'm not saying it wasn't a crime. I'm just saying it's not pedophilia. When I was in college, I had sex with underage girls. That doesn't make me a pedophile. Coming from good old Goldbug, Peter Schiff. So shout out to maybe he writes about that in like his third book. No one's
read, number 73 why Bitcoin is better than gold, and reason number 74 is the price chart right here. If I could share here, TradingView, you can see we had a huge cascading event here. I could jump on it. There we go. Bitcoin falling after Trump and Elon started their spat. We're going to jump into the post there. Major decline here. Did not get a trade in. I was actually on the sidelines, you know, really just trying to stay and wait for the dust to settle. Did not get a long in. I honestly thought I was going to go to bed and everything was going to continue lower, but Bitcoin fell $5,000 in a very short amount of time. Markets very spooked.
So brutal.
By just Daddy Elon and Daddy Trump going at each other's throats there.
Absolutely brutal. I was watching this. I was in the same boat. We were looking at this in the Discover Investments Group Discord at the end of the day. And I was trying to get that full extension down to 99.8, but I did not get that. So didn't get the trade in.
Yeah, you thought we were going to dip below 100. You know, I think a lot of traders thought that, and it looks like we got kind of close here. I do want to look at a Coinbase here because I'm kind of interested in see where that went. Let's see, BTC, USD, Coinbase. Coinbase got it down into the 300s there, but was not able to quite crack that below 100K. So. A little bit of a sign that there's some buy order books and there's some people ready to buy Bitcoin on a discount.
Yeah, it seemed kind of interesting that it was that psychological level at about exactly 100K too, because there's definitely liquidity to grab low. It just ended up holding up right there. So I traded another day. I didn't lose a dime yesterday in the trading, which I felt like was a win because that was some extreme volatility. Absolutely crazy. So,
all right. Well, let's look at the crypto market real quick, and then we're going to jump into some of the posts here. Talk about Elon versus Trump. Just kind of glance at this. ETH is still down 2.8%. We're going to talk about the ETH flows on the ETFs there. Doge is down probably the most of the majors here. It's down about 4%. Cardano down about 1.3%. XRP BNB down about 0.7%. But Solana being a little bit of a little hope here. It is up 0.9%. We're looking for the major gainers. It's going to be Fartcoin. Should have long fart. I know. I should have done my 50x. I would have caught the exact bottom. Would have been nuts there. Virtuals is also up 4%. Caspa's up. And I'm surprised to see Render up, but I guess Render's had a red week, just waiting for some sort of a relief in the markets to bounce there. And if we look at the big losers, Bitcoin DeFi, so Stacks is down. And is it a surprise that Trump coin is down?
I mean,
No.
did you see the do we have the news about fight
Elon
media?
coin might be up. Oh yeah,
We're going to talk about that as well. Yeah, Donald
fight.
Trump raising some money to potentially buy more Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, but also the fight media did a cease and desist order, or they received a cease and desist order from World Liberty Fi. So there's a lot of infighting going on between the Trump meme coin originating company and World Liberty Fi now, which the Trump sons are leading up. So either a major communications issue,
some infighting, like a Trump family reunion, and he brought his ex-wives along.
Basically, man. Basically. So I'm not surprised to see the Trump meme down. There's been a lot of uncertainty around that. The trenches do look like they're heating up in meme coin realm in general. There are some winners in the short term, but the meme coin being down is probably a result of that cease and desist order, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and if we look at any major movies in the last hour, SPX has continued to just have some major moves lately here into the downside. Monero and Fartcoin.
You know, you make me want to trade Fartcoin.
Oh, wait, I'm actually in a long on Pepe, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's Pepe.
Okay.
I could still do the 50x on Fart. Should I?
You're
Should
gonna
we
50x
long or
Fart?
short chat? Chat, should I 50x long or 50x short?
Short. Go to
Fart?
0.
Shorted to 0?
Short
That's a Josh thing.
Shard it down.
Let's look at chat things. Let's
Start
see.
at 0 here.
How's it looking? It's very
not seeing a lot of strength there. I mean, we're starting to see the RSI find a little bit of a bottom. All right, you maniacs are going to make me do it. I'm going to do it, aren't I? I'm going to do it. All right, so we're going to go to Fart. We're going to make sure we're at 50. We're right at 50. We're just going to throw $50 on there. Nothing crazy. We're not trying to go ham. 53, and always love buying a green candle there, right? So make sure we do it on market. 58, sure, close enough. And boom. Guys, stop going up. Go down. Okay. And because of that, we're going to be liquidated in 4 seconds. So, all right, there we go, folks. All right, let's get into the news here. This is the only way Elon Musk and Trump can settle this. Is it the Rust map, Josh? Is that where they got to settle their differences?
I was about to show that too. Yeah. They need a 1v1 on Rust. Yeah. It's, I think it's, I don't know. I have no idea. I still don't think that would be. I wonder if Elon Musk would be the better player or if you just hire someone to game for him.
Yeah, I mean that might be the move. That might be move.
Maximus.
It was Ninja. Ninja was playing the whole time.
Oh yeah.
We do got a $2 super chat. Thoughts on Sonic? Looks like a buy price prediction. No, we are pretty bullish on newer platforms when you can get in on a good price. The question is, are you getting in on Sonic on a good price? Now, I think this is going to bleed against Bitcoin in the long term, just because it is a crowded space when you're talking about, just this L1 ecosystem. But looking at the recent price action, I'd have to look at some token unlocks. I'm sure the RSIs are going to start looking like there's some bull divs starting to form. I'm just hesitant on the next leg down. Like, I want to say you would have said this is a good buying opportunity. This is a good buying opportunity. This is a good buying opportunity. Now, this is a good buying opportunity. At what point does it end? But I think you're going to do pretty good if you get in at these levels. It looks like it has probably been beaten down enough there.
Yeah, I mean, alts have been nothing but pain and destruction. So, that is why I've been kind of leaning more into trading, is because these alts, I mean, historically, you see what DZ's talking about. Basically, what is that?
This is market cap here. We go to price.
Yeah. Okay. So right about 4.5, 4.5, 0.45 should have been that kind of hold spot there.
Yeah, you can see it was kind of, well, we got these dips to 39 and we got a dip to 39. So, I mean, you can maybe make an argument that 39 cents was the wick below 40 cents was the support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'd be near a lot of support. This is why I've been making those videos on being heavy. Like, I think it was last week we put out that video. The BlackRock one was me saying this summer. I mean, everybody's got different opinions maybe on what's going to play out over the summer, but I think being heavy towards Bitcoin, which more than 40% of my portfolio is Bitcoin right now, is just going to be a huge risk mitigation to just everything. So, I mean, obviously you can see it in the Discord if you guys are in Discord what I hold. But ultimately being more heavy towards Bitcoin as we hit these new levels, I want to be shocked if Bitcoin goes to 115K and Ethereum's still at $3,300. It just Bitcoin dominance is going to remain higher for longer until we get the Feds to cut interest rates, until we start getting more liquidity into markets, until retail has more money to speculate on these altcoins. And whether institutions start FOMOing into Ethereum with the ETFs, the staking mechanisms, that's possible. We have the market structure bill. We have a lot coming. But I think this summer is going to be more of a trading summer. I think it's going to just be ranging. Look at Ethereum's range here on the daily. This is something we've been following for a long time. I wish we caught this last night. I was in Atlanta I had to get some just personal stuff done. We're in the Discord, missed the first trade, missed the second entry point. I swear on CoinW by $1. I had it at 23.80. It hit 23 like 81.50 or something. But ultimately, this range right here created a massive bear trap yesterday. Bears were like, I saw the tweets. Everybody saw the tweets going to 90K, going to 80.
Closed that long. It was bleeding.
Closed the long. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And then now it's going to start bouncing.
It's going to start bouncing. But from the range here, we went right back into it, back above that 20-day moving average. So for ETH, it has been over a month of just perfectly being able to trade this. And then look at Bitcoin here. This is an insane recovery candlestick from that sell-off yesterday that a lot of bears fell into. They were saying head and shoulders. So now if this breaks back into this, again, it's just another liquidity move, and it goes to show the institutional interest. Look at the Bitcoin dominance.
What is that moving average it fell to, Josh? If you can.
Moving average?
Yeah, the moving average.
Oh, yeah. Is that the 50 on?
Exactly. That's the 50-week moving average, or the 50-day moving average. It fell to right here. MACD. But look at that MACD, right? Printing a weaker volume candlestick, which is signaling to me that $100,000 level is going to be pretty hard to break through. Not impossible. Not impossible. Again, we're still looking at these targets, right? We have the futures targets. If we were to break those zones, I'm just still anticipating one last leg higher here. And even this is where I'm saying, like, even if we go to 115 or let's say $118,000, I just want to be shocked if Ethereum was at 3,300. If some of your altcoins maybe only did 30% to 100% gain over the summer here, as we're stuck, we need to break out of this range. That's what I want to see. I want to see ETH officially.
Ooh, well, you know what? You brought up the 50-day. Let me give you the 100-day and the 200-day moving target. I think that, is maybe some relevant information here. Let me shrink the RSI. So we just hit the 50-day. You can see it right there. Well, let's look. Last time we just hit the 50-day. You can see we wicked into it, and then we went straight to the 100-day. I want to say, let me see here, 50. No, the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. So went past the 20, wicking into the 50-day. Blew past that and then wicked into the 100. We ended up blowing past that and actually going below the 200-day there. So just for the price levels, if we hit the 100-day moving average, 96,696-ish. But the 200-day moving average would take us right to the bottom of the right shoulder on the larger head and shoulders that could potentially be playing out. So I've been calling for, maybe 20 to 30% chance I think we hit this right shoulder plays out there.
And is that target you're talking about, DZ, is that 92? Is that filling?
Yeah, 91,500, 92K, right around that area.
Okay, so that would fill that CME gap that still exists.
That's true. That's another confluence. That's right. I remember talking about that. I want to say it was Monday. So yeah, there's a couple magnets pulling it down this low.
There's a lot of confluence down there.
All right, let's get back to Trump versus Elon. Obviously, they're not going to be battling it out on the Rust map, everybody, but that doesn't mean we can't remember the good times. This was Halo 2, I think it was. The Monster Energy drink. Let's see here. No, I think New York Post maybe one here. This is the New York Post headline from this morning. I hate my ex. Big beautiful breakup. Trump Elon bromance explodes.
Kiss and make up already, dude.
Oh man.
Just smooch.
All right. Well, we're gonna have some of the posts here in this article here. So Trump Musk spat saw Bitcoin tumble, ended up liquidating hundreds of millions of dollars here. And so Elon and Trump, their battle intensified, and those holding Bitcoin for over 155 days, they keep selling in this turmoil. So over the past 24 hours, Bitcoin hit 105,900 before falling to 100,500 within a matter of hours. The drop came and caught traders offside with about $300 million liquidated. And it came after an escalation in Musk's public feud with Trump, with the Tesla boss taken to his X platform to say that Trump's plan for sweeping global tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of the year. Trump said on Truth Platform that he might terminate Musk's contract subsidies and contracts in how it say billions and billions of dollars for the U.S. government. Musk then responded, well, in light of his statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning the Dragon spacecraft immediately, a statement that he would then later walk back. And then I think really it hit a zenith. We don't see it here. When he accused Trump of being on the Epstein files.
Yeah,
Drew, I know there's going to be an insane basement episode.
Dude.
Can you just share a brief thought on it?
All right, so like people are like, "Oh, this is just a psyop. Trump wants him to use this to get the Dems out in the open." Like, if I was Trump, I'd be like, "Okay." So the thesis is that Trump wants Elon to go and say that he's on the Epstein list, so then that'll get the Dems to be like, "Yeah, release the Epstein list," and then they release the list for sure, and it throws the Dems under the bus. I'm kind of doubting that. Okay,
yeah, that
I'm
doesn't
having
seem
a hard
likely in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, what is your take? Because like me, I personally like we knew that Trump had used the plane. I didn't know that Trump was on the island. Right?
I just think like if the Democrats had that information for 4 years, it'd be alarming to me that didn't get out, that Trump was like way more in depth with that, and
they wouldn't sit on that info. My wife,
like this is like you're talking about an administration that literally tried putting this guy in prison for 700 years, and like they just magically kept back like the one thing that would.
I think
like,
Lou Ferrigno, I mean, he is on the record for being on that flight log, I think 7 times. He's not on the record for being in the Miami mansion, which is the other large list that people have. So there are some lists that he's on. There's some lists that he's not on, and I don't
see the whole list. I think every government official is probably on that list.
Every government official.
I like my wife's take here. Normally, I wouldn't share private messages here. Elon's a smart guy, but his emotional intelligence is the same as a 12-year-old girl. That's my wife said it, so I could say that.
He's an autist. What do you expect?
I forgot she said girl in there.
Yeah, I don't know about any of this. It's so weird to me. I don't know. Is it a psyop? Is it, actually Elon caring about government bloat? I think there's part of that. I think he's valid in the sense that bill is. I think it's retarded. I think what needs to happen is they need to destroy the debt ceiling, and what they need to do is put the 3% deficit on Congress, like Warren Buffett's been saying for the last 50 years.
The time
we were to do that.
At the end of the day, yeah,
you're done.
The dollar is defaulting, and that's the real main takeaway.
We have to print out of the debt. But there's obviously no option to default on it. People that think, oh, we should just default. We're not ever going to default. That's not even part of the equation. So if we're going to print more money, you might as well just turn it into a 3%. I don't know why we still haven't done that. Like with Warren Buffett's idea that 3%. It is genius. RFK said it. Donald Trump was an advocate in 2012 for it. Elon
the timing
Musk,
of this is very interesting, though. If you think about it, like Doge finds trillions of dollars of fraud and abuse. The government refuses to vote on doing away with that fraud and abuse. And then instead of looking at the problems of fraud that Elon spent a year finding, they decide to just try to push forward a big, beautiful bill that raises our deficit, sets another $10 trillion on the U.S. debt, and basically will end us up at $55 trillion of debt by 2035. If I'm Elon Musk, I'm pissed in that situation, me personally. So
yeah, I have a hot take here too. I like Doge. I mean, there is good to it, but until you put the 3% deficit on Congress, that was never going to matter. Like even with what he did today, the next cycle around in 4 more years, like the interest payments alone.
I guess my take would be, let's assume that never happens. So now what do we do?
Exactly. If we don't put the deficit on Congress, this problem will never be solved. Like it just, because you have to, like, it is so deep in politics to be able to change that narrative. Again, like you could save $2 trillion this year, but the debt on our interest payments alone in 10 years will far surpass whatever we save today. So I think that's where it's such an interesting conversation. I think it's a bipartisan issue. Both Democrats and Republicans, they're corrupted as fuck, and they need to put the 3% deficit on Congress. And that is a simple. And I think Warren Buffett, I don't remember the quote on the year it was, but he's been saying that forever. That's the only way you solve it.
It just won't happen, though. That's the only problem.
This whole tweet of, we need a third party. A third party will never win the U.S. election
push back a little
the Electoral College.
I would push back a little bit. Maybe our debt payments are just have ballooned to the point where growth can't get us out of it. But let's see, Bill Clinton had a surplus without that rule. So when you're saying we cannot run a surplus with the government,
what was our debt?
I would just disagree with that.
What was our debt at that time with Bill Clinton?
So
we didn't have COVID.
In a long enough time scale, we would pay down the debt as long as we're running a surplus.
Well, and even though he had a surplus at the time, he had Larry Summers craft up a Glass-Steagall or whatever it was, and anyways, which led up to the 2008. He kicked the can further down the road with the real estate market, like that orchestrated under his administration.
Clinton had the .com bubble to write off of
And
too.
He also
other
had the dot-com
presidents
bubble.
may have a robotics boom.
So-
They might have an AI boom. There's going to be future booms.
Absolutely.
Potentially,
The U.S.
but
debt.
is there enough booms to grow ourselves out of the $36 trillion in debt?
Yeah, so I want to answer your guys' question. You asked a question. So during the Clinton presidency, the U.S. debt held by the public initially reached a high of 49% of the GDP, but it did decrease to 34.5% of the GDP by the end of his second term. So the GDP ratio to debt actually was favorable during Clinton's administration, but he did have.
Sure, but
By the
I
way,
think
for
we get
that,
lost
for
in the
anybody
weeds.
watching, that's good for the middle
I
class.
think GDP percentage, your
Or what?
debt as a percentage of GDP, I think that really takes away, are we making money or are we losing money? And the government has been losing money since the 90s. I think we could potentially turn that around. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But let's talk about the ETFs with this Trump-Musk feud, because Ethereum is actually being bought up here. So Bitcoin ETFs flip to outflows, end up losing 278 million, but ETH ETFs saw inflows continuing a 14-day streak at this point. One other good thing I would say, we went from greed to fear, likely in response to the rupture of the previously close relationship between Trump and Musk, which has played out multiple explosive social media posts. Sentiment, though, not exclusive to Bitcoin and crypto. Many investors are spooked by the feud. Tesla plunged 14%. Donald Trump media dropped 8%, according to TradingView. ETFs, though, they continued to have outflows. ETH ETFs saw inflows here. So ETH ETFs, it's only $11 million, but I would say the bigger story here, 14 straight days of inflows. So very, very strong bullish action for ETH, at least. Let's talk about the collapsing economy from Elon Musk, though. So Elon Musk joins the Bitcoin maxis in warning of a potential U.S. fiscal collapse, is where we're just talking about. Or are we there already? I guess that is the debate here. So he's criticizing the policies of the government, highlighting the projected $2.4 trillion increase in the deficit due to tax reforms. Rising fiscal concerns could accelerate the shift from U.S. assets and towards alternatives like Bitcoin and gold. And the repeated debt ceiling increases are seen as masking fiscal instability, with the debt now at $36 trillion. Wait till you see where we started. As of 2024, the deficit's at $1.8 trillion. And as of today, the debt's already at $36 trillion altogether. Annual interest payments around $1 trillion. But look at this. This is the part I wanted to share. Just want to make sure. All right. So Bitcoin have been warning of this day for a long time. To paraphrase, crypto may not have all the right answers, but it does ask the right questions. This has been around that the government's bankrupt for a long time. According to Musk, the government risks bankruptcy if fiscal prudence isn't restored. In theory, the U.S. has been bankrupt for decades. That's evident from the repeated debt ceiling liftoffs over the years. We set our first federal debt limit, $45 billion, all the way in 1939. But then, since then, the ceiling repeatedly hit and raised, a sign of fiscal crisis, and in many ways, a form of hiding bankruptcy. As of 2025, the debt limit stands at $36 trillion. That's right, trillion. I had no idea we started with 45 billion and 39, though. That was a fun fact for me to find there. So almost 1,000x increase. That's all.
No big deal.
What's 1,000x increase in debt amongst friends?
They've raised the debt ceiling 79 times or something crazy. And most of those times have been in the last 20 years. Like, it's just disgusting, man. It's just disgusting. It just, that's how these politics, it's so funny. It's like why I laugh when people act like there's just no way out. The only way out of this is if you hold your if your senators, your representatives, we put a 3% deficit on that Congress limit, because like the whole conversation, what's more retarded is having the conversation around saying, oh, we should have a third party. I'm like, well, okay, obviously you've never taken civics and you don't even know how the electoral college works. Like, you can never have a third party in a two-party system. It doesn't work that way. So
what's your counter that Ross Perot almost pulled it off?
He didn't pull it off.
That's why I said almost.
That's my counter.
So you're saying because one guy almost did it, we shouldn't see that as a warning sign that it could potentially happen?
No. Yeah, he didn't do it. Yeah.
Fair. I would disagree, but I would say that's fair.
Name one independent that's won.
Bernie Sanders in Vermont.
Bernie Sanders has not won the presidential.
Runs as an independent.
Presidential?
Oh, no, presidential.
Presidential.
Well, I'm saying it highly improbable. I'm reluctant to say impossible.
Yeah, I would say it's
what are your thoughts, Drew?
impossible.
Well, I mean,
Impossible.
RFK is a perfect Bernie Sanders is a perfect example in 2016 when they kicked him out for Hillary Clinton.
we have to reach back pretty far to find tangible competition in a third-party sense. So, third-party candidates basically have been losing. Theodore Roosevelt, 1912, Progressive Party won 27% of the popular vote and 88 electoral votes, which beat the Republican.
Gustavo's point here with Elon's money, a third party, highly probable.
Yeah, I mean, you have.
He would have to buy again. No, how many seats would he have to buy to get the electoral college vote for the president?
I mean,
maybe he spends 1.5 billion in on the campaign.
I think that would take 12 years for him to accomplish and rotate those seats.
But look what we have right now. We have kind of a hybrid leadership at the Republican side because we have a RFK, injection into this Republican Party. We have Tulsi Gabbard, who also came from the Democrats. We have the mayor of New York, who originally was a Republican, now he's a Democrat, and he's now shifting back over to the Republican side. So, there is some nuance to this conversation. This is probably the closest we've been to an effective third party in over 100 years. But your guys' point about how many electoral college votes you would need to garner, it's an immense amount. But maybe the 80% of America that literally just wants fiscal responsibility injected back into this economy, and they feel the prices of their housing, doubling, their food has tripled or quadrupled, the vehicles have tripled. Maybe the average person feels enough pain fiscally where they're ready to actually look at a third party as a tangible option. Yeah, just my thoughts.
And I agree. I just think it would be way easier, way less money, even on the taxpayer. It'd be way less on the taxpayer to just simply put the 3% deficit on Congress. That is a bill that'd be way easier to pass than get a third-party candidate to not only take over, like you'd have to win midterms for the next consecutive, like you have to be putting people.
Well, so you don't think a centrist presidential candidate could just win and not have any Congress people, but could still get some things passed?
No.
Why not?
Supreme Court's all decided by Republican Democratic candidate. Like,
yeah, but if there's a clear electoral winner,
is what I'm saying.
Most electors are going to just vote in that person, even if it's not in a party.
So
most states are required by law.
Let's say you get to the point of even a libertarian winning the presidency. How is that libertarian going to get any bill published through the House? How are they going to get any bill pushed?
Well, back in my day, we used to reach across the aisle.
Justice aside,
we used to reach across the aisle, and maybe we can again in the future, Josh.
I'm like, dude,
libertarians. I think
I have no faith in our government.
Libertarian gets so messy though. It had to be like a patriot party. It'd have to be someone like a patriot party contrived of RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, like people from both sides that want it to come together. That's where I
say we make the Bitcoin party.
We'll see.
All right.
Bitcoin party.
Now back to the collapse here of the government. Now I think this is probably mostly from the jobs report more so than the Elon Trump tweets. The odds of 0 rate cuts in 2025. Giant spike this morning here. We can go let's just do the 6 hours so we can see a little more easily. Went from 24% all the way up to 29%, spiking to 31%. And so again, I think this is related to the jobs reports, especially looking here. The higher than expected jobs report, meaning more employment than people were expecting, means less likely the Fed is going to reduce rates because it looks like the economy is still strong.
They need to cut. Yeah. I think what was the latest news on that?
Markets are saying now 0 cuts for 2025.
President Trump says Federal Reserve is a disaster and calls for 100
basis. Yeah, that was new. That's breaking. There, let's share that real quick. This is from this morning, correct?
Yep.
So it still continued. The heated battle between mom and dad continued to the next morning. You're just trying to eat your Fruit Loops in the kitchen, and you hear screaming coming from the master bedroom. Who's been there?
Mom walks up with the black eye.
Oh my God!
How do you turn it so dark so quickly? To me, I was just implying domestic abuse. You just went there.
Didn't Elon have a black eye?
Recently, he has.
I heard he had a black eye. I don't.
He had like a
family member.
Maybe smacked him.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a tinge there recently.
I think it was the jujitsu. The jujitsu he's been doing. But
was he sparring with Mark Zuckerberg?
Maybe that's what it did. Oh well, that's for another conversation. We'll stick to crypto right now. But yeah, it's Yeah, go back to the poly market chart here. I want to see that again. It's very interesting that now you're saying 0 interest rate points for this year.
Yeah, going higher. So more than likely, we're getting 0 cuts.
And that's all because of the Elon Musk and Donald Trump fights.
I think the timing suggests it's the jobs report because the Elon tweets were around here. You know what I mean? So it was like last night. So the big spike came from the jobs report, is my guess.
Interesting.
I mean, you can always bet on this, Josh. If you think, no, I know for sure there's going to be 1 or 2 cuts. Put some money down on Poly Market.
Yeah.
Interact with Poly.
I should do this. I honestly should do this. I think we'll get minimum 50 basis points by the end of the year.
Ooh.
There's no like if we don't
a 5-to-1 payout.
If we don't get any interest rate cut this year, there's something way deeper politically here with the Federal Reserve and why we haven't cut. I mean, again, look at every other nation on the planet has cut.
You know, historically,
we're the ones with inflation
ECB
down,
cut yesterday.
Energy costs down, strong.
Japan's cutting, yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why were we cutting at all-time high markets?
There's
we're too hot too fast.
I don't get this. Yeah.
We say we want cuts, we need cuts, and they have to cut because it's what we want for alts. But honestly, like if you look at the 70s to 80s, they did not cut during stagflation. In fact, they rose interest rates. So the whole idea that they have to cut, I think, is our emotional plea for our bags.
Inflation was at 19%.
Yeah, I mean, well, CPI went up to 19%. We are following that pattern at a lower level only because the economy looks a little bit different right now. But historically, if you compare our time frames, well, they should be raising.
Let me ask you this, because every single FOMC meeting, which we cover every single one on this channel for the last 4 years, Powell says that their goal is 2% inflation, right? Their goal for CPI is 2% before they look to reduce. We're at 2%. On true inflation, we've been at 2%. So if that's not the goalpost, what's the goalpost now? Just wait and see how these tariffs interact with the market?
The goalpost is moving. Right?
Yeah, they keep extending it. So it wasn't 2%. It's not the metric anymore. So if 2% isn't their goal, what's the goal now of having these interest rates at these levels?
You know, the goalpost is a moving thing that they have to always keep. The 2% inflation rate is just to keep you constantly investing or buying things. They have to keep the ball moving so that you always want to understand that there's going to be a level of inflation and that they can keep the velocity of the dollar moving by moving you from one spot to the next.
Exactly. So if we're sub 2% based off realistic models, right?
The models are skewed, though. They're a lie.
Now they don't want to incentivize people to spend.
Yeah, the models are utilizing new metrics of how you account for inflation. They're a flat-out lie. Like when coffee explodes in price, they take that out of the inflation rate.
Yeah.
They also account for the cost of living much differently than they did in the 1980s and 90s. Like if you were honest about the inflation rate and actually took the baseline metric of housing and didn't skew the numbers and lie about the data, then we would actually be at a 9-10% year over year. But they're liars. So that's where we are. They're using skewed data. If you did this the way the CPI data, the way that we used to do it in the 80s and 90s, we'd be at a much, much higher average inflation rate than we are currently. So that's the real.
I'm pretty sure PC inflation hit 2.1%, correct?
Sure. Yeah, I mean the data that they show.
That's just my point. Is like, so if 2% is the target, which we're pretty much at 2%, right? 2.1%. And again, like you said, the numbers are all skewed. They're all lied. Jerome Powell, by the way, if you guys are defending Jerome Powell, this is someone that was wrong about transitory inflation. Like he's been wrong a lot in this market as well, and he has been late to a lot of things. So if we're at that 2%, and we want to incentivize that spending, and we know right now that spending is at a bottom, debt's at all-time high, credit's at all times, consumer spending is at a not an all-time low, but it's at a low. Consumer confidence and sentiments at a low. Like if these are all the issues with the market, why aren't we opening up that liquidity back to retail? Like, yes, there's a greed factor to it of like, man, we want our markets to do well. We want us to perform. We want our altcoins to perform. But it's also just past that. It's like asking us, okay, if we're at the levels that they were claiming that they would look to reduce, but now they're saying, you know, maybe September, maybe the end of the year, what's happening behind the scenes? Is it politically motivated? Is he trying to be Paul Volcker in a moment that's not a Paul Volcker moment with, you know, with not 19% inflation? What's the reasoning for the buffer here? Especially when you have other commissioners, by the way, guys, there's not just Jerome Powell. There's other commissioners on the seat that do want to cut, right? So it's an interesting chair perspective. I don't know.
Speaking of perspective, someone's got a $2 super chat here. Is that Rahilador Amigo prophecy coming true? He's referring to Crypto Face, and Crypto Face draws these little amigos on the Bitcoin larger time frames out there. I don't know. He does come off bearish. I love CryptoFace as a trader, but he also said, where are we at? 2021. He said this was the top. We did put in a little bit of a higher high. So I always think about that when I think about CryptoFace being more bearish than me. I say, well, he was super bearish in the middle of 2021, and we ended up getting that second leg up, though. But I wouldn't bet against CryptoFace. You see a stream, he just opened along like 5 minutes ago. You do pretty well if you just copy trade him, jump along, and ride along there.
Did he open a trade 5 minutes ago?
No, I was just saying, like, that is it's tend to work for me in the past. Like, there are days where I'm like, man, I'm gonna long, and I see that he opens a short, I just immediately close my long, and then it ends up saving me from getting wrecked there. So, but you know, he does like cheap prices, we'll just say here. We do have facts on who the hell is selling Bitcoin. So who the heck was selling? We got all the way up to a 111. Whale started selling. Well, these are people who have more than 10,000 Bitcoin, and these people got Bitcoin between $0 and $700. So the people selling are the people that have been hodling for 8 to 16 years. And I always like to say, I was saying this on the flight back, I sit next to a Marathon Digital employee. He literally said he thinks Bitcoin's going to $1 million in like the next 2 years. Oh no, it's here, super cycle. I don't understand what's happening. You don't understand, DC. You don't understand. It's going to $1 million soon. And I just said to him calmly, there's always another Chinese whale ready to sell. There's always a Chinese whale ready to sell. There's always some people that got a lot of Bitcoin for 17 blueberries, you know, back in the day, and they are ready to sell that Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I have my general thoughts. Like, I think if we continue to repeat the basic price expectation of Fibonacci, then 500K is actually my 2028 time frame, my target for 2028. Like I think like 170 to 200 for this cycle and about 500 for next. That's what that's my general thoughts. So, you know, take it away.
Let's see. I was looking up a Circle, and it's for whatever reason, it's like trying to pull in some other Circle Internet Group. Now, I was pulling in Corcell PLC that trades on Great Britain's exchange here. Circle is still up and is now trading at $111. Woo! People doing good who jumped in on that one there.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of look like...
jump into the FOMO, but that was I don't even see. I know it hit $1 billion, like 1.4 billion or something like that, probably today, in terms of value.
Let's see. We can look at the market cap right here. Market cap today is $22 billion. Is the market
cap. My bad.
So yeah, they're doing pretty good there. Pretty good. All right. So now let's talk about Bitcoin being bought up. Was it MicroPlanet? No, what MetaPlanet? MicroStrategy, MetaPlanet. Thrilled to announce a huge increase in the amount of Bitcoin they're going to buy. Now they're getting $5.4 billion to accelerate their Bitcoin strategy. But I think it's the CMO or the CTO, Dylan LeClaire here. Actually, I kind of want to post. What the heck is he? I don't want to say the wrong thing. Bitcoin strategy. He has some job there. I forget what it is exactly. But this guy works. He says the target 1% of all the Bitcoin is going to be 210,000 Bitcoin. So that is the goal there. I'll just say this. There's not enough companies. I'm sorry. It's impossible for every company to have 1% Bitcoin. I think there is a day there's going to be certainly more than 100 companies that want 1% of all the Bitcoin there. So I think you guys can do the math there.
Just want 0.1%, because 1%
21,000.
1% is going to be unattainable at a point. But yeah, no, this is why the Bitcoins, maybe if there's a Bitcoin super cycle like Marathon's talking about, I think Bitcoin dominance is going to remain a lot higher, a lot more effective for a lot longer. That's just because simply you have the corporation state FOMO. Ethereum will probably follow after that. But again, you're still looking at, we need the market structure bill. We need a few things to be pushed through. And I mean, yeah, it's performing, a lot of inflows per day, which shows there's interest, but we definitely haven't had that pivot to where like there's hundreds of millions or billions pouring in like there are from the Bitcoin perspective. Just keep that in mind, guys. But no matter what, what's good is like, look at this Bitcoin 105. This is showing it again.
Ooh,
like, Bitcoin.
I already know how to thank you there.
Ripping already. Brian Hardy with the 20 Discover Crypto memberships. Appreciate you, man. Holy smokes. That's absolutely beautiful.
He found us on Rumble too. I was talking to him. He found us on Rumble. We're starting to actually, We're kind of exploding on Rumble, you guys. I don't
Let's
know.
go. Are we on Rumble right now? We are on
We're
Rumble right now.
we're on YouTube all the time and doing that, but our Rumble shows are actually getting pretty big.
What's up,
and-
Rumble fam? How you doing?
And if you're wondering, what do you get the member stream? So you get a little bit of exclusive access and a little priority with the chat here. And from a member, how much Bitcoin should you own to feel good about the future? 1, 3? I kind of like 2.5. I feel like 1, we're getting to the point where 1 is, you know, an acceptable answer, probably not an answer when it's only 16K. But now that we're getting closer to 1 million, or, you know, 0.1 million, then it'll be 250,000, then it'll be 1 million eventually. I think you got 2.5. You could probably get some pretty good yield one day.
If you have 2.5, you will retire in 40 years. Like no matter what. I think if you just held it. I think like if you held Bitcoin for 40 years and had 2.5 Bitcoin, like you're probably looking at a few $1 million worth of value that you could literally just rotate into yield, or like you said, ETFs, and just literally retire off that in the future. I think
like 2.5. Drew, you got a number here?
You know, I mean, over time, it depends on your time frame. If you're looking like 15 years out, 1 will be just fine.
I think 1 actually might do that too. I'm saying I just said 40 years, and I was like, wait, maybe I'm kind of
40 years. I mean, half.
I think 1 would be
40 years, a half of Bitcoin is going to be great.
yeah.
In the short term, like over the next few cycles, I think, you know, aiming for
These markets-
2. I kind of like your 2.5 call for getting that yield, and that's something that you can like passively live off of. You know, but I mean, this is a very Bitcoin dominated decade that we're walking into, I feel like. So
Like if Bitcoin goes to 1 million, chat, it's going to 10 million. If it goes to 10 million, it's going to 100 million. It just if that's a 5 to now 100-year, like what's Bitcoin at in 2140?
Septillion dollars.
You know, like well,
it moves up with as long as they keep
it's
printing.
seriously though. Like what if we keep getting this adoption?
Let's
like
go to octillion.
octillion. It
Yeah.
has no value. It just surpasses value. You become one with the data.
Oh my
I
God.
forget after trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, septillion, sextillion, septillion, octillion.
Like
and then I forget.
will our
I don't know
brains be able to
Me
mine
no
Bitcoin in the
numbers.
future? It's just it's interesting to think about.
What's after octillion, chat? Let me know that.
Wait, has there been any as the Novogratz came out and said it's going to 1 billion yet? I'm waiting for the 1
no,
billion.
we should still be the first to say Bitcoin's going to 1 billion.
Did you see my
Everyone
tweet?
says 10 million, you know, is the new million.
I put a tweet. I was like, Bitcoin's going to 100 million, and then my subtweet under it's like, just wanted to make an exaggerated claim, like everyone else.
Reptilian was
gonna
the,
turn
the
it-
next one.
You just turn into lizard people.
No, Nillion. Thank you there. Yeah, we got the smartest chat out there. I bet they knew that already. Now, this is their strategy. This is pretty significant because, you know, we were talking about 0.1%. Their target was 0.1%, which was 21,000. So to signify that they want to go to 210,000 eventually, very, very huge. And they want to up it 91,000 just in the next 18 months. So they're trying to skyrocket, get to 100 Bitcoin just in time for the bear market, maybe. But we'll see if their accumulation picks up during the bear market, because MicroStrategy did not buy enough Bitcoin under 20K. I will say that. Now this is nuts. Did you guys know there's a Bitcoin super signal that just flashes, only flash like 3 times? Every single time it pumps like a maniac.
Absolutely not. What is the super
It
signal?
pumps like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 70s.
I want to know more.
Let's see here. So I'm just going to cut straight to the chase here. So it's Crypto Con. Oh God, is that who we're listening to?
Here we
Crypto
go.
Con. I don't know. Now I don't even know. But Crypto Con has highlighted a rare but historically consistent pattern called the Bitcoin super signal. The signal's triggered when trading volumes fall to extremely low levels while prices are in a broader uptrend. And so we got the data here. This has only happened 3 previous times, and each has met the same criteria, each one followed by a significant bull run. So what are these areas? 2012, the signal appeared, Bitcoin's trading below $15. Over the following year, it just surged 10,000%. The next time, October 2016, Bitcoin was $700. Well, it would just later hit $20,000 within about a year. And then the same pattern, September 23, Bitcoin traded at 25K, volume dropped to extreme low zone. But then we saw the broader uptrend. Within 6 months, Bitcoin hit 75,000, posting a 200% gain. And it looks like it is now appearing June 2025 as the volume oscillator dropped to the extreme low zone as we're in a broader uptrend there. So a little bit of a glimmer of hope for, say, I don't know, 150K Bitcoin, 200K Bitcoin.
This is super signal. This
The
needs to
super
be
sig-
on Napoleon Dynamite. Like, absolutely.
I mean, you give me that ledger, I'll throw it over that mountain.
Oh, for Pedro,
I
dude.
love it. I mean, yeah,
Oh, for Pedro.
it does feel that way. Like
He's our third party candidate.
that washout where we got a fear level of 17, and then we're still
Here's the
holding
post.
above, like, you know, I mean, God, I mean, we fell to 17, we held at 75. I mean, that was a good reset, and we've got a green monthly dot that just printed as well. I mean, things look very, very interesting on the larger time frames here for Bitcoin. It's like steadying
How
out.
often after a green monthly dot does it pump?
Honestly, we've never had a signal like the secondary green monthly dot we just printed. So we are in the great unknown.
So it means we're going to zero.
I actually think I took it as an extended market signal. That's how I took it. I took it as just a little bit more length in the market from how flat and kind of boring things have gotten.
Speaking of boring, let's check in on Bitcoin here. God, I got a lot of drawings here. We're just gonna Bitcoin continuing to pump, at least on the 5-minute candle there. But as of the last 4 minutes, looks like it's doing a slight decline. And I'm gonna speak slowly as I delete every single brushstroke that I did, drawing the little amigos there.
Be stroking a lot on there.
Let's see. Let's check in on. Oh my God, we were in deep profit, and I just wrote it all the way down. So we're just going to continue to let this one ride.
Easy.
We're only down 2%.
Never trust it.
And we're still up over 100% on the Pepe long there.
Okay.
So,
Not
God,
bad.
if I would have been paying attention, I would have kept it open there. What are we talking about here? DZ would have kept it open.
Oh, man, it's trying to take off again. Look at this.
There's good news. Hey, we're back. Oh my God. I went from negative 0.5 to up 5%. So that's fart coin. Don't trade it, guys. That one's, it's only for the maniacs and the degens. But if you do want to trade, we do have an L-Bank little link down below. I'm super happy about this one. I just want to say, as an ape holder, I recently removed my mutant ape from my PFP. I still have my mutant ape. Still staking my ape coin. As far as I know, I'm not even earning yield at this point. So I have like the max amount of ape coin yield out there, but they're getting rid of the ape DAO with the new ape coin entity. What started with promise has devolved into sluggish, noisy, and unserious governance theater. Too many resources have gone to vanity proposals and low impact initiatives. I have largely gone super bearish on DAOs, generally speaking. People, if you ever hung out in a DAO Discord, we have the Junkies DAO. We pass it off to a team, a council, this international council, people from like 3 different continents. We passed it. And the DAOs just do what DAOs do. They'll argue over everything and anything. They'll argue over, should we enter the room and turn the lights on or off? Let alone, like, do we buy this domain name? Do we, sign a deal with this figurine company? DAOs are just slow and sluggish. I totally agree with all this.
So I want to ask you about the DAO setup. Is it like every holder has a voice in this DAO?
Yeah, you can go and vote and stuff.
Right. So, I mean, we allow people that just turned 18 to vote here in the US, right? We allow, this is a large voting thought that I had. It's like, maybe we roll it back to landowners. Just a thought. Probably an unpopular thought.
No.
They say that's when you
That's
go full
very
circle.
unpopular. Dude, you
start rooting for a king.
The landowners. So now, like,
point.
BlackRock, that owns every single family home complex, just outvotes the regular population forever.
No, it's not corporate based. It's not like corporations get the vote. It's people that own land.
But like, what about
vested interest in that?
Our kids will never be able to afford land.
It's not true. It's not true at all.
The debt cycle we're going, it's going to be much harder.
No, they just don't want to live in rural Kentucky.
Valid.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's my point.
But everything's connected with the internet. So I mean,
I think that's a crazy.
You can do all the same stuff that LA Vape Cabal does.
What I do think, like, people like Drew do deserve is way better tax incentives and things for having so many kids. There should be way better kid policies in the United States that incentivize breeding. To put it lightly.
Are you watching Handmaid's
From a
Tale over there?
demographic standpoint,
I see
as long as you're not like Peter Schiff and trying to breed with underage people, like, I think we should incentivize it.
I see a lot of nihilism from voters, and I just don't trust people that believe in nothing to go vote and decide where the country's going. That's just me personally. I have a vested interest in
a tough
upward
sell. It's just a tough sell.
I get it.
Do you think there should be an IQ test that you have to at least
also a tough
past
sell.
70 IQ?
You guys have heard me say this 87 times. Chad's probably only heard me say it twice. There's 8 billion people in the world. There's one person in the middle as far as intelligence. They're right in the middle. They're ranked 4 billion. Half the world is dumber than average. So half the world is dumber than that person. So by definition, half the world is stupid. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but by definition, that is the case.
And they're voting for us, for our future. And those people are voting us down.
I don't know.
off
You
the
just
cliff.
get into like human right laws.
All right, let me give you guys a counter. What about the bell curve? So you got the really dumb person, and then you have the mid curve, and then like the geniuses often agree with the really dumb people.
On what?
Kill them.
Like, you've never seen the bell curve meme?
No, dude, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've seen the bell curve meme.
It applies to a lot of
you
things.
you should be just a
Meme
citizen,
coins,
man.
Bitcoin.
That's constitutional. That's constitutional. That's like
I had to go there, you guys. I mean, this is a conversation starter.
Drew's looking for a revolution.
I'm
and
just trying to
Drew
start the
is.
conversation.
Drew would be right there on the third party front lines, dude.
Listen, the book shirts are
And
back.
I would not verse it. Would he win? Probably.
Listen, this country was founded on right wing. I can't see the next word, but it wasn't founded on these hopes and dreams and asking for permission from the crown. It wasn't based.
I love
on that.
people like Josh is way too opinionated. He's too young, essentially. You realize how old our founding fathers were?
Some of them are young.
Some of them
Some
were
are
yeah.
young. They're pretty young.
Oh yeah.
Was it
Arrogant-
Herbie Hancock, right?
I
my
think the
favorite
youngest
one.
one. I don't think any of. Yeah, what did you just say? I missed it.
It's a terrible Chris
Like a
Farley
handsmaid
reference.
joke.
It's a Chris Farley reference
Oh.
there. And speaking of, are you going to watch Fight Club this weekend?
Come on,
I
man.
will not answer this question. I plead the fifth.
Do you watch movies?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, he watched Saving Private. No, it was Kelly just got done watching Saving
I've
Private
seen
Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
What was the last movie you watched, Josh?
I just went to the movies. I just watched Thunderbolts with my wife last weekend.
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, that new Marvel movie.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty good.
Okay.
I want to see the new. I mean, in terms of like movies on. Oh, we watch movies occasionally.
I would suggest Fight Club.
Last
You're very
good
monetary
movie.
minded. Fight Club, it may sound like it's just about punching people, but it is very monetary minded.
Oh, you know what I watched recently was that Nona's movie with on Netflix with Vince Vaughn.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a great.
I thought you said no, something else. Let's talk about Uber real quick. Uber doing something super major with
watch Snow White.
with
That's
with
on repeat, actually.
I just hate everything that movie stood for. Uber in the study phase of using stable coins to lower costs. There's a whole list of companies that are exploring using stable coins. We predicted this. We're waiting for the regulatory clarity. And then that's when an Uber and an Apple and a Google are going to feel okay utilizing stable coins in a major way. So good job there, Uber. Obviously, that's kind of rolling into, not fart coin, dang it, Coinbase stock pumping like crazy. It was up 167%. Might check in on it in a little bit. Just see, is it right here? It's still rising.
Wow.
It is still going up. Whoa, look at that little spike that just happened recently there. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback, but that thing is going nuts, man. That thing is pumping like hotcakes. Almost hit $120 right there. The coin that pumped more than everything after the dump, freaking fart coin. Looks like they got a Coinbase announcement. Do you guys think retail, if they're going to buy a meme coin on Coinbase, is fart coin going to be the most popular option?
I mean,
if not, what is?
Dude, Fartcoin's one of the most hilarious things to talk about in crypto. It's like Fartcoin's outperforming your stock pick and all this stuff, you know. Fartcoin is what all memes should be. They should be, and it's hard to make a meme
Like fully released all at once.
right. And it's
know.
hilarious to talk about. The higher it goes, the more hilarious it becomes. So, and I don't own any. I just, watch from the outside looking in.
I don't own any either. I just
To be
trade.
fair, Farcoin's like the only meme coin I'm exposed to every day because DZ's longing and shorting it.
Facts.
Like
Facts.
it's like, and it's a part of a lot of Twitter space talks too. Like I think it's definitely a top meme coin.
You're
We're just gonna
closing
close.
it?
Yeah,
Top meme
we're
coin.
just getting out of there. I got 2 trays that are deep in profit, so like
Okay.
make my winning position into a losing position. So
Fair
I think
enough.
I run like 29% decline there. So we're just having fun out here. We're just having fun. We have to mention the Trump. It's not just Trump versus Elon. Trump signaling he's going to buy more Bitcoin as well. They're raising more debt. Trump Media, owner of Truth Social, looks to issue $12 billion worth of new shares. And there's speculation that a lot of this is going to be for Bitcoin purchases, potentially BTC ETFs there. So Trump might be buying a lot more crypto as him and Elon tank the economy. So is it all related? I just can't buy that narrative.
What?
Narrative. Oh, they're like, hanging out together like, oh, that'll be funny. Now call me a pedophile. Hit
I know, right? That's weird.
No, I think there's a lot of realness to it. Who knows though? Well, I think it's one of those things where we just need to wait in 2 weeks and see what happens. 'Cause I would imagine they're gonna kiss and make up.
They're gonna kiss.
I think so. I think that's the only thing that we haven't seen yet.
Okay.
All right,
Darren
Byron Hardy. What would you call your own meme coin? I think I got to go with D's nuts.
These nuts.
I don't know.
That'd be a good one. D's nuts. I'm Getimus Maximus. That's me. So everyone knows I'm going to clip the chart in one sale, and I'll just, be a Pepe with hanging out with like at an Indian food restaurant, just ready to sell the whole bag. That's what I
we got a prediction here from a Disco Fam member here. July 4th is going to be the bottom. It's interesting you say that because what happened last 4th of July? Well, things got really scary, and that was like the ultimate liquidation event there for altcoins. I want to say it was right here, that deep, deep, deep red candle. And then we ended up doing the worst one in the beginning part of August as well. So maybe some recency bias, but this one was pretty bad for altcoins.
It was a triple bottom there, though.
Yeah. Oh, or just a broader declining downtrend there also. It's just looking ugly. But that's what we end up seeing before the pump. And I'm still kind of speculating that, this bottom shoulder, the right shoulder might play out there. And then we continue on to Valhalla.
DZ, do you know if we have I'm going to check our description.
Shoulder doesn't have to be the same length either. Say
what?
what?
We need we have the link. So someone's asking in the chat, where did we get the light for the Bitcoin price behind DZ? So that light bar where it's showing the price action, if you go into our description, it is the Bitcoin ticker box, and I have them as well. I love those things. So
we got Disco Fan buying a chicken coop, putting it together as we speak. Picks on X. That is super awesome. Love it.
Based. That's what it's all about, man. If everything goes to hell, at least I have Bitcoin and I got my chickens. I am waiting to expand the flock until I get done with this next trip to Denver. Then I'm getting 30 more chickens on there.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm having more kids.
No more kids. I got plenty of kids. No, more chickens.
All right. Well, folks, I'm about to go do the member stream. We're going to do it in the Discord, and it's going to be a fun one because I'm going to be doing some like live setting it up, and I'm going to be kind of crossing my fingers. Big shout out to Kelly, helped me this morning here. And so stick around for that. So you can expect us in there next couple minutes. Come hang out. Have a wonderful weekend. We're dropping more videos. Don't worry. We're going to have something coming out tonight. It's going to be going over, let's just say some of this Trump Elon stuff. Josh might even do an emergency video on this Trump Elon. He might have to, folks. And I might do a video on what the hell is MicroStrategy? Should you buy it over Bitcoin? But it's taking a lot of research. So if I get done, maybe that'll come out Sunday night. If not, expect that Monday night. But to catch the videos when they come out, turn on notifications. We appreciate if you would smack that like button, hit the like button, commit felonious assault on the like button.
Don't do
like
that.
you're Donald Trump alone in a room with Elon. Just really sock it to it. That's all we got, folks.
Peace out, guys.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the